All right, welcome friends. My name is Mrs. Swanger, and today we're going to be looking at Eureka Math, Module 2, Lesson 8 for 3rd grade. Let's get started. So today's learning target is going to be I can solve story problems involving metric weight. So we're going to be looking at some of those metric weights that we've been talking about, grams, kilograms, and solving some problems using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So let's get started. Some materials that I want you to have next to you before we start are your dry erase board, your dry erase marker, and a whiteboard eraser that you can use on your whiteboard. So if you have those next to you, then that is awesome. You can go ahead and keep watching. If you don't have them next to you, pause the video and go find them and then come back. All right. Remember that when we're solving story problems, we're going to use the read, draw, write process. So the R stands for read. We're going to read the problem, and not only that, but we're going to understand what it's asking. So sometimes I literally close my eyes and picture what they're saying so that I can understand what I need to do. The D stands for draw, so we're going to draw and label a math picture to represent our problem. The first W stands for writing numbers, so we're going to write an equation to solve our problem. And then the second W stands for write a word sentence. So we're going to answer our question using a nice juicy sentence to solve that problem. Here we go. So here's our first one, and this time I'm just going to solve this one for you. So you do not need to do this alongside me on your whiteboard. This is just going to be me solving this one and showing you, and then the next one we'll do together. So first I'm going to split up my area for read, draw, write. We always want to draw lines to split up our area into those 4 quadrants so that we make sure we have everything we need. And I'm going to let's go ahead and read the problem together. So a bag of beans weighs 28 grams and a bag of rice weighs 36 grams. How much do they weigh altogether? So I really want to be able to picture what they're asking in order to understand what we need to do. So I am literally picturing a little bag of beans on a scale that weighs 28 grams and a little bag of rice on a scale that weighs 36 grams. And if they're asking all together, I know I'm going to have to add those together. So once we have read and understood what it's asking, we can go ahead and put our check mark on that. For my picture, I'm going to draw a part whole tape diagram. I can show the 28 gram bag of beans and the 36 gram bag of rice. And what I'm trying to find is that total number of grams. Okay, so I know I'm going to have to add these two together to get that total. Next one is writing a number sentence. So I know I'm going to have to add my 28 plus my 36. Now I'm going to show you a strategy. You don't have to use this strategy, but to me, it makes things simpler. So I'm going to call it the simplifying strategy. So I'm going to go ahead and break up my 36 into 2 and 34. And I want you to just look at those numbers for a minute and think about, why would I do that? Why would I break up my 36 into 2 and 34? Some of you might have noticed that neither of these numbers are very friendly to work with. 28, those aren't very easy to work with. 36s aren't very easy to work with. But 28 is really close to a nice friendly number. What is it? Yeah, 30. 28 is really close to 30. And how many more do I need with 28 to get to 30? I only need 2 more. So if I break up this 36 and I give 2 of them over to the 28, now I have 30 here and 34 left. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I now have 30 and 34. And if I add those two together, I get 64. So I can get the total of 28 and 36 by doing a little moving things around and making it simpler in my head. The next one is my nice juicy sentence. The beans and rice weigh 64 grams altogether. So I used my answer and I went up and answered the question that they asked up here. A bag of beans, how much do they weigh altogether? And I answered that with my answer that I came up with, 64. The beans and rice weigh 64 grams altogether. So, yay, you rock. Awesome. Okay, this time we are going to try one together. So if you will get your whiteboard and your marker, here is the next one. Let's go ahead and read this together. If I'm going too fast, remember you can pause the video and catch up, and then you can unpause, okay? Make sure you split up your workspace for read, draw, write, write, so go ahead and split that up right now. It says, Lindsay wants to ride the roller coaster. Ooh, I love roller coasters, so this is going to be an easy one to picture for me. The minimum weight to ride is 32 kilograms. She weighs 14 kilograms less than the required weight. How many kilograms does Lindsay weigh? So this one is kind of tricky, and the way that they worded this one isn't so friendly. So let's really think about what they're asking. It says the minimum weight to ride is 32 kilograms. So that means you have to weigh 32 kilograms to ride, okay? She weighs 14 kilograms less than that. It doesn't say that Lindsay weighs 14 kilograms. It says she weighs 14 kilograms less than that minimum amount to ride. And it wants to know how much does she weigh. Okay, so if you have read that and if you understand what it's asking, you can press a check mark. If you don't quite understand it yet, I want you to pause the video, rewind it a little bit, and go back to where I was reading it again. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on. So if you're with me, you can keep watching. But if you need to rewind the video and start over, that's okay too. So the next one is our draw. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a tape diagram again this time. Let's do this together. So go ahead and draw your tape diagram. It should be a long, skinny rectangle. And we're going to label the information that we know on this tape diagram. So we know that the total you have to weigh to ride the roller coaster is 32. And when we're labeling a tape diagram, where do we label a total? Yeah, the whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and label that 32 on my whole tape diagram. That tells me the minimum amount that you need to weigh to ride the roller coaster. And then it also tells us that she weighs 14 kilograms less. Now remember, it's not saying Lindsay weighs 14 kilograms. It's saying Lindsay weighs 14 kilograms less than the minimum, which is 32. So to show that on my tape diagram, I'm going to kind of split this up. And one of these sides is going to be how much Lindsay weighs. The other side is going to be the 14. So if I take what Lindsay weighs plus 14, that should get me to the 32. Or 32 minus the 14 should get me to what Lindsay weighs. Okay? So my number sentence, I could do two things. I could do something plus 14 equals 32, or the opposite of plus is minus. So I can do 32 minus 14 to get what Lindsay weighs. Now, is there a way that we can use a simplifying strategy like we did earlier? I know that 14 isn't the most friendly number to use, but could I split it up into more friendly numbers? Could I maybe split it up into a 10 and a 4? Let's try that. If I split up my 14 into 10 and 4, then I can subtract each piece and do it in my head. So 32 minus the 10 would be 22, and then I still have to minus 4 more. So then if I take my 22 minus 4, then I get 18. So, friends, that means Lindsay weighs 18 kilograms. And remember, when we're writing our nice juicy sentence, we want to use their name, and we want to make sure that our answer we came up with is answering their question that they're asking up here. So the question was, how many kilograms does Lindsay weigh? Lindsay weighs 18 kilograms. I answered the question and I used my answer that I came up with. So great job, friends. There's me and my little kitty. I love kitties. All right, this one you are going to kind of do on your own. So go ahead And get your whiteboards ready again. Erase what we have and split that up for read, draw, write, write. Okay. I'm going to give you some time to solve this one on your own. Okay, so if I'm going too fast, remember you can pause the video until you catch up and then you can unpause. So make sure your workspace is split up. And let's go ahead and read this together. So Gary buys 3 bags of groceries. Each bag weighs 4 kilograms. How much do the groceries weigh altogether? Okay, so literally, I'm going to close my eyes. Close your eyes with me. I'm literally picturing Gary carrying 3 bags of groceries. He's kind of struggling a little because that's a lot of groceries. And then I'm picturing each of those bags weighing 4 kilograms. Okay. It wants to know how much do his groceries weigh altogether. So when I see that word altogether, I automatically think of addition, adding everything together, but let's see if there's a different thing we can do. So if you have read this and you understand what it is saying, go ahead and put your check mark in your first box for read, okay? And I'm gonna give you some time right now to go ahead and pause the video and solve this on your own. I really want to see what you can do on your own. And then after you've solved it, you can come back and I will solve it with you and we can go over your answer and see how you did. So go ahead and pause the video, come back when you're ready and we'll look at it. All right, friends, I'm going to go ahead and solve this problem. If you aren't quite done, please pause the video and give yourself some more time. All right, so this problem is referring to equal groups. So there's 3 bags of groceries and each one weighs 4 kilograms. We could add all 3 bags together, but we've learned a faster way. So we'll think about that in just a minute. We've learned about a number of different math pictures we could use. We could use number bonds, we could use arrays, we could use equal groups pictures, tape diagrams. I'm going to go ahead and try a number bond this time since we've already done 2 tape diagrams today. So what I know is that there's 3 grocery bags and you can see that in my 3 little arms on my number bond. And then each of those grocery bags weighs 4 kilograms. So I'm going to put a 4 in each one of those. And what I don't know is how much they weigh all together. So I'm going to label that with a question mark. Okay. Then, like I was saying, automatically when I see that word altogether, it makes me think addition. And I could do 4 plus 4 plus 4 to add up my grocery bags, but we've learned a faster way. How can I do 3 groups of 4 in an equation? That's right, I can do 3 times 4 and that equals 12. So Gary's groceries weigh 12 kilograms altogether. I want to make sure to use my answer to answer the question they've asked up here in a nice juicy sentence, and I'm going to use his name. Okay, I could say he has 12 kilograms, but that doesn't really explain what it's talking about. So let's look at a juicier sentence. Gary has 12 kilograms of groceries in all. That is a juicy sentence. I love it. All right, friends, we're getting to the end here. Nice work. Great job solving one-step word problems involving metric weight. Please go into your Canvas or into your modules and please check on what you're supposed to do for independent practice today. I'm so proud of you.